Hey, thanks so much for joining us in this presentation on our health um, opportunities. Uh, we do live in a poisoned earth, sky, and water. Pollution is all around us, and it's a legitimate concern. And before the good news can be appreciated, we have to understand the bad news, which impacts everyone's physical health. Pollutants, toxins, mutations, radiation, viruses, and bacteria compromise our health. Few of us are in a position to tend and survive solely on our own gardens and herds. Soil depleted of natural nutrients cannot produce foods capable of keeping us healthy. Nutrient values have dropped 50%, down 88% in iron, cauliflower down 40% in vitamin C. We have vegetables without vitamins because food factories focus on making produce that's attractive, so we'll buy it, long lasting, because it's about 1,400 miles from farm to fork. And in the wintertime, they bring it up from Chile and Peru, and they want it heavily hydrated to increase the weight and the price. You're familiar at the supermarket with these misters and this recorded thunder, and everything's always soaked, so it costs more money. But I mean, for example, spinach in 1963 had twice the amount of iron that spinach in 2000 does, and it's even worse today. Instead, they're putting sugar. These are all sugar cubes in a bottle of Coke. Sugar cubes and the McDonald's stuff. It's just the body turns all the sugar into massive amounts of fat, and then irradiation destroys the nutrition in foods and produces aflatoxins, which are the most potent carcinogens known to man. Even organic, if harvested green before ripening, will still lack sufficient nutrition. Improperly cooked, processed, refined junk and fast foods don't promote health. Synthetic additives, GMOs, irradiation chemicals, and dyes, plus colorings are harmful. Organic now includes antibiotics and pesticides. It's really discouraging. Get antibiotics out of organic apples and pear production. So who really eats and can afford the price of 14 minimum recommended daily allowances of fruits and vegetables? Food is not enough. Doctors and many of us supplement. This is the Journal of the American Medical Association. The doctors and the scientists are finally admitting that it's no longer possible to get all the nutrients necessary in our standard diet to maintain optimal health. This is the food pyramid from Scientific American, the old one and the new one. And it's interesting that they've added this white bottle of supplements saying it appears prudent for all Americans to supplement with vitamins. So the message is we better be taking supplements. But then the next issue is, how real are your vitamins? I mean, you have two plant sources for vitamins. You have garden plants and you have chemical plants in New Jersey. And it doesn't really matter what the source is in terms of the chemistry, because that's still vitamin D, that's still vitamin A, there's vitamin E, and there's B12. They all have the hydrogen, nitrogen, and oxygen, whether they're synthetic or made by God. Of course, these are gases. The real question is, what's the source of the carbon, the C? And if it's man-made, they use tar and petroleum. Now, maybe that helps with constipation. They did a study with 18,000 smokers, and they gave them vitamin A and vitamin E, but they made a mistake. They gave them the synthetic form. But they were excited to see how fast they would improve, and sure enough, the results, a 28% increase in the incidence of lung cancer, a 17% increase in the incidence of death, higher cardiovascular disease. The trial was ended 21 months earlier than planned, and they thought, man, this is a fluke. No, it's not a fluke. They did a meta-analysis of 47 clinical trials published in the New England Journal of Medicine, and here it is. And the upshot, the conclusion, you're wasting your money. In fact, there's no benefit. And actually, beta-carotene increases heart disease and lung cancer. Alpha tocopherols increase strokes if they're synthetic. So man-made supplements from tar, petroleum, and rocks, that's where they get the calcium. That's all natural, sure enough, but it's not anything you want to eat. and they may be 7% useful but 93% harmful. Some supplements are really prescription drugs, and so you don't want this stuff. In fact, you can try roasting your vitamins, because 95% of them are made with all this tar and petroleum. But roast them in a preheated oven at 350 degrees for 15 minutes. And if the black stuff that bubbles to the surface, or if it melts into a puddle of petroleum, if that doesn't look appealing, then find something that when you roast it just turns brown, like roasted almonds or roasted turkey. And your kitchen smells good like you're cooking food, as opposed to this stuff where your kitchen smells like a refinery or gas station. Proavity evaluates different vitamins and minerals. It's an independent third-party laboratory, and you might have heard of Avocare and Centrum and Neutralite, which is Amway and Aniva and USANA, and there's Herbalife and Juice Plus and Pharmanex and Melaleuca and One A Day and Relive and Prime Essentials and Shaklee, Standard Process, etc. There's our stuff, Vitamatrix by Manitech. That's good. 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 We're the only company offering real food technology. Without sufficient nutrition from safe supplements or vine-ripened food, our quality of life will be impacted. Already we see around us a decrease in the health and wellness of those we love. It's only getting worse, getting closer to home. Drugs and medication don't address the cause, which is a lack of nutrition. Drugs, resulting in bad side effects, only deal with symptoms. Quit medication in 5 years and the problem could still be there, unresolved. Chemo, radiation, and surgery too often make things worse, weakening our immune system and healthy cells. Few recover their health. Most are resigned to dismally managing their slippery slope. Indeed, our healthcare system, ranked 72nd in the world, is now the #1 killer of Americans. The World Health Organization, listed as 72nd, is pathetic. Most Americans can't even name 71 other countries, and we're 72nd. Now, we're #1 with trauma care and emergency room care. If you get in a car accident, pray that you're in the United States. But if you got a disease, be cautious, because in the United States we just throw drugs and medication at diseases. And I'll tell you, you don't get cancer because you're chemotherapy deficient. In fact, 999,936 of us are killed by what they call iatrogenic issues. They're medically induced. It's the equivalent to 22 of these Frontier Airlines jets crashing every day. In fact, we were at an estate sale in Wheat Ridge and discovered whose estate sale it was. Beverly Keown apparently completed 7 cycles of chemotherapy. Congratulations, Beverly. And of course it killed her. But there's good news. Great news, in fact. Until improvements are made in the mass production of food, you can get what your body craves from food source concentrated nutritional supplements. I mean, look at the difference between ascorbic acid, man-made, and made by God. Alpha tocopherols, man-made and made by God. We offer an exclusive on bioavailable minerals from hydroponically grown, flash-dried Indian mustard. You know, we're not supposed to eat dirt. We don't have enzymes to digest metals and minerals and dirt. We're supposed to let the plants eat the dirt, then we eat the plants, or we eat the cows that eat the plants, but we're not supposed to eat the dirt. And we have an exclusive on standardized and effective amounts of vitamins sourced from real food. And an exclusive on a synergistic blend of antioxidants, providing the most powerful and most varied ORAC protection available. ORAC stands for Oxygen Radical Absorption Capacity. It measures the capacity of whatever antioxidant you're testing to neutralize these dangerous free radicals. Now, we identified 90 products worldwide. You might find 7 or 8 in your local health food store, antioxidants. We spent $250,000 on an ORAC machine. We started buying samples from the different suppliers, and the average turned out to be 1,719. Ours is 17,254 with 10 times more powerful protection than anything you can buy elsewhere. And it makes a huge difference. For example, green tea. You've heard that green tea is a powerful antioxidant. Well, when our shipment arrived, we tested it on the ORAC machine and got a reading of 0, which we knew from the literature was wrong. So we called up the supplier and explained the problem, and his response was, oh, we didn't know you were going to test it. Let us ship you some more. And the next shipment came wrapped in a nitrogen blanket so it wouldn't oxidize. Makes a huge difference compared to the competition. And it's all science. Now, our vitamins have been turned into a chew. I mean, there is a chew available. 2 of these, PhytoBurst, gives you the vitamin A equivalency of 2.5 apricots, the vitamin C of half of a lemon, the vitamin D of 4 cups of milk. If you know somebody that wants to get pregnant, she better be on folic acid that's bioavailable, 1.5 cups of spinach. And if you go back and try and buy this in a supermarket, well, this was 2009 at Papa Joe's, 63 cents for 2.5 apricots, etc. You add it all up, it's $51.44 compared to $1.04 for 2 of these bursts. That's a huge value in terms of the nutrition your body craves. You ever finished a big meal and you're still hungry a half an hour later looking through the cabinets for something to snack on? You're thinking, how can I be hungry? I just ate this big meal. Well, your body's not interested in food, it's interested in nutrition. Until you provide it the nutrition it needs, it'll keep eating until we become the most obese nation on earth. If you were going to get all this nutrition in the whole bag, it cost you $1,543 in 2009 versus $31 for a bag of these PhytoBursts, and the kids love it. It's a wonderful pick-me-up in the afternoon, all this concentrated nutrition. Now, don't be fooled by the hype and marketing of fancy bottle formulas, which focus on ingredients rather than the finished pasteurized product, which oxidizes during the manufacturing process, and while dissolved in the H2O, I mean, you get Tahitian noni and Zango and Monavie, and here they are at the bottom of the chart, hardly any kind of protection compared to Welch's grape juice for $5 a bottle instead of $30 at the supermarket. And then here's a grape juice, Concord grape juice, compared to our stuff. But the most exciting news is what's happening in glycobiology, because even the best natural nutrition cannot work as intended if the body's command control central headquarters cannot recognize and properly utilize them. So here's more good news. MIT's Technology Review listed the 10 emerging technologies that will change the world. I'm not making that change. It's the scientists and the engineers at MIT in Cambridge, Massachusetts. The technology won the Nobel Prize in Medicine in 1999, 2000, and 2001. We have an exclusive in glyconutrients, making the vitamins, minerals, antioxidants even more effective. Let me show you how and why it works. These are the 6 things that are essential to health. Probably oxygen is number 1. You better keep breathing. But you need water, not Coca-Cola and Pepsi. You need 9 amino acids to make enzymes and proteins, 3 of those fatty acids like the omega-3s and 6s, 26 vitamins, 72 trace minerals. Well, we've known this for years. We have fortified bread and enriched milk and total cereal. And yet more and more of our friends get sicker and sicker at a younger age, and it's like there's a hole in the theory. Something's missing, and we discovered you need 8 glycoconjugates. These glyco is a Greek word that means sweet. We're talking about sugars. There are 205 sugars known to science, but these 8 have nothing to do with diabetes, nothing to do with energy. They're the letters of the alphabet of communication. And you arrange them, or you conjugate them. If you ever studied a foreign language like French and you conjugated the verbs to get the imperfect tense or the future tense or the past tense, we arrange these sugars on the outside surface of all of our cells, making them bumpy. They're attached to these protein stems like clusters of grapes. And then the immune system reads the bumps the way a blind person reads Braille, and if all 8 are in the diet, you have clear communication. It rubs up to one cell and it says, I'm a cancer cell, I'm out of control, please destroy me. Or it says, I'm a good guy, I belong here, but send more water. And that's how the immune system can differentiate between good guys and bad guys. But the problem is, in the average American diet, we're down to 2 instead of 8. And then it's like a blind person trying to read Braille with 75% of the bumps missing, and that ain't going to work. And when you have a breakdown in communication like that, it leaves the immune system in a dilemma because it can only do one of 2 things. It can either say, I'm not going to worry about it, it's not a big deal, I'll let it go this time. Or it can say, I'd rather be cautious, I'd rather be safe than sorry, let's destroy this unknown cell. Well, if it opts to destroy the cell, what happens if it's a good guy? What happens if you destroy too many of the good guys? Well, then you get an autoimmune disease. Your immune system, your body since birth, starts destroying your pancreas. You end up with diabetes, your joints, you end up with arthritis, lupus, Crohn's disease, arthritis, all these different issues. Simply because of a breakdown in communication, the body doesn't understand what's going on. Now, when I think of communication, I think of the 4 strokes of our pen, a long, straight one, and from these 4, you can create every letter in the alphabet capitalized or small. For example, a capital A would be 2 of these, 1 of these, right? And a small a would be 1 of these and 1 of these. And an S would be 2 of these, 1 this way and 1 this way. And you can get T's and K's and F's and M's and T's and R's and every letter in the alphabet capitalized or small, but you need all 4 strokes and you need them in the right place. If I go like this, you might think I'm saying cat because this bottom stroke actually belongs in the middle. Not that I'd be saying eat, but I'd be saying fat. But what if you're actually missing a stroke? It's no longer in your diet, except during 3 months during farmer's market out of 12. And you need to supplement. If you don't, then you get a message like this. That might be an important message, but if that stroke's not available, you can't tell what it means. And as for myself, I want to make sure my immune system can identify every cancer cell it comes across in my body today. I don't want it to start growing out of control. Because if a person starts dying of cancer, it's not an immunological problem, it's communication breakdown. The person could have the strongest immune system in the world, a really powerful immune system, but if this incredible immune system can't recognize a cancer. So here's the analogy. How many different computer software programs are there in the world? Hundreds of thousands. Okay, well then how come one company, Microsoft, is so huge and wealthy? Because Microsoft has the software that runs a computer. And everybody else's software runs off their operating system. That's a good position to be in. The guy that figured that out ought to be pretty wealthy. Well, here's the analogy. How many different nutritional products can your well-intentioned friends come and talk to you about? Herbs and everything else. Hundreds of thousands. But Manatech has a software that runs a body. And if your operating control system goes down, you can take all the rest of this stuff till the cows come home. But if your body can't recognize it and properly utilize it, it's wasted money. This is a huge monopoly because we're the only company in the world that can legally market this stuff. What if I could offer you 10 cents on every bottle of vitamin C that sells this year in your state? You make some money. What if I made it nationwide? Or better yet, international? Or better yet, gave you the whole category? That's what we've got. I don't care about this. That's just software. I want the operating system of the body. Now, you can't patent a natural product because God made it. But we discovered that there's nothing in the sweetest peach or apricot or Detroit red beet, no more than 3 of these glycoconjugates. It might be mannose, fucose, and xylose, or N-acetylglucosamine, and N-acetylgalactosamine, and acetylneurominic acid. But anything beyond 3 is new science. And so we have over 100 patents. They're called composition of matter patents. In other words, we have a patent on the composition. And it's driving Big Pharma nuts. They hate our guts. However, the American Medical Association awards educational units, CMEs, to doctors, nurses, medical professionals for studying why our stuff works. Here's a breakdown in communication. Like a computer with lots of software or a body with lots of good nutrition, nothing happens if the communication goes down, resulting in a confused operating system. Let me explain to you once again, this does not cure anything, it doesn't heal anything, And it doesn't deal with diseases. It simply reestablishes proper communication for the body. And then the body can wake up and do what it needs to do. If you have high triglycerides, high cholesterol, high blood pressure, and you take the stuff, the body wakes up and goes, whoa, too high. Back to where it belongs. Or if it's too low, whoa, too low. Back to where it belongs. Here's the cells in your body. They're covered with these glycoproteins. See how they look fuzzy? Except for the cancer one. Communication reestablished, and things are functioning the way they should. Now, most people don't know their blood type, but most people do know that they better not get the wrong blood transfusion, A, O, and B. You know the difference between the blood types is 1 sugar. That's how powerful this stuff is. 1 sugar can kill you. Here are the sugars on a protein stem identifying a bacteria. You reestablish clear communication. It's wonderful and absolutely amazing what can happen. Here's Scientific American. There's one cell. Here's the other cell. See how the telephone lines go through? And that's how your body can identify toxins, viruses, bacteria, communicate with other cells. Scientific American or Science Magazine, probably the top journal in the world. There's a protein stem with these sugars on it. We're in the physician's desk reference. Here's Scientific American, an RX out of white sugar cubes. Ha! Did you ever think you'd see the day? Sugar pills. Yeah, well, it's the wrong kind of sugar, obviously. But here's our product, Ambrotos, ambrosia. If you remember, ambrosia is God's food, or the food of God. It's basically, if you add an ACE, it's an enzyme like lactase. If you add an OS, it's a sugar like sucrose or glucose. So there's the Ambrotos. It has all 8 of these essential sugars. And it's absolutely amazing what can happen when you reestablish communication and the body knows if it's supposed to destroy me, protect me, regulate me. After 6 months, doctors, scientists, U.S. patent officers, and the rest of us are blown away by the results. Here's Dr. Ben Carson again, the director of the U.S. Patent Office Division of Bioaffecting Compositions, claims glyconutrients are head and shoulders above anything else. He was interviewed by a reporter at the Atlanta Voice, and the reporter asked him, during your 20-year career at the patent office, did you examine any single, any discovery in bioaffecting compositions that stood out above the rest and its potential to impact the future of health? His response, yes, there have been many significant discoveries, but one stands head and shoulders above the rest, the discovery of a new category of vital nutrients called glyconutrients. This discovery might provide the single biggest opportunity to impact health from both ends of the spectrum. First, glyconutrients are essential for normal defense functions, making them one of the best strategies for reducing the risk of disease. You know anybody who's healthy and they don't want to get sick? What are they saying? 1 out of 2 men and 1 out of 3 women are going to get cancer, and that's going to increase over the next 5 years by 42%. And cardiovascular disease is even worse. Second, they are also necessary to support the normal functions of repair, making them one of the most critical strategies for supporting the body's normal healing functions. Do you know anybody that's sick and wants to get well? Dr. Goen looked at me and he said, this is more significant than penicillin. I've helped more patients in the last 6 years than in the previous 60. After only 6 months, doctors, scientists, U.S. patent officers, and the rest of us are blown away by results. The exceptional 6-month, 100% satisfaction guarantee or all money returned is unmatched and possible because science has proven over 20 years the effectiveness of all our products. There is no financial risk, nothing to lose, and everything to gain. The improvement in your health and wellness could be absolutely stunning. And it has a lot to do with epigenetics because the epigene impacts on the genes. And it impacts on how our genes will be expressed. But the epigene itself is impacted by proper nutrition. So thank you for your attention. I encourage you to go through the one on our company and our wonderful mission. That's very important for you to understand.